we tell all the Goyim that they worship a Jew and they believe it, so what's the difference?
And now that you brought up the Goyim, let's talk about that. In other words, the Goyim, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you will, Rabbi Finkelstein, a Goyim is any person who isn't a Jew. A Goyim is classified as cattle or an animal. Is this correct?
Well, they are cattle because we're the chosen people.
Well, yeah, you're chosen for fertilizer. That's what you're chosen for. You know, this is what the book of Enoch, the patriarch, even Yahweh in a flesh body said that all of you Jews, the descendants of Cain, are going to perish for the evil that you have done in this world. You are the destroyers and the incineraries of the world, are you not?
I'll agree with that.
But you see, the thing that really bothers me, and not bothers me to the extent of losing sleep over people like you, is that all wars have been created by Jewry. They've been all set up to as a monetary gain. Wouldn't you agree?
It's the greatest game in the world to make some shekels.
Now, let me ask you this. You know, there's so much things being talked about with George Bush in the White House. Let me have your opinion, first of all, about George Bush in the White House.
He's a good Goyim.
Yeah, well, he's a good Goyim. Yeah, good boy.
He takes his orders from Ariel over there, and he tells him what to do, and he does it like a good Goyim.
Would you agree that when the Balfour Declaration was signed in England, and the Jews were taken to Palestine, the land of Palestine, would you agree or disagree that there's actually more killing and there's been as much slaughter in Palestine by the Jews slaughtering and killing the Palestinians as there are of the Iraqi people being butchered in the last 12 years?
Well, who counts? But once in a while, you got to thin out the herd. When you own the herd, you got to thin out the herd.
I see. That's the philosophy of making money and staying alive and staying ahead. Is this right? Now, I'd like to.
You take that Iraq business over there. We got the white Goyim fighting the Arab Goyim, and they're killing each other. And we're making a lot of money, and we get the oil, and we get the interest. The most important thing is the interest on all the shekels that we loan both sides.
You mean usury?
That's right. You call it usury.
Now, you know, there's a book out that you read, Rabbi Finkelstein, called the Talmud. Now, the Talmud refers to Christ as his mother was a whore, and he was a bastardized son of a Roman soldier. Is this what's being taught in the synagogues?
Well, every good Jew knows that.
But you see, the reason that I wanted to ask you this is that, you know, you just said a little while ago that he was a Jew. And now you say every Jew knows that he was the son of a Roman soldier and that his mother was a prostitute.
Well, that was a long time ago. Who knows what was said back then?
Yeah, I guess that's right. That's absolute right. You know, we're having a real bad problem in our country right now. There's a lot of outsourcing of jobs and deindustrialization of this country. You know, the 7 Jew banking families that took over control of the money in America in 1913 was the Rothschilds of London, Israel Schiff of Italy, Kuhn and Loeb of Germany, the Warburgs of Hamburg, Lehman Brothers of New York, Goldman Sachs of New York, and the Rockefellers of New York. A lot of people, they don't realize and know that these 7 Jewish families actually control all the money and have controlled the money in this country since 1913. I know you're aware of this.
Of course.
Now, in doing so, I mean, that makes a pretty big purse, doesn't it?
Listen, you know, the Goyim are the schleppers. You know, they do all the work. That's what they want to do. They want to work. They always want jobs, so we give them jobs to work. The Jews don't work.
No, Jews don't work, and you're absolutely true. I want to get back to this Holocaust, and I want to get back to the Holocaust survivors. You know, it's to the point here, Rabbi Finkelstein, where there's more Holocaust survivors getting getting money, getting payments, financial payments, than there were Holocaust people who died, allegedly among the Jews. Where did all these people come from?
Well, again, you know, they have the evidence, they have the proof that they were there in the Holocaust, and so they're entitled to some money.
So, in other words, you Jews say 6 million were killed in the concentration camps, and yet there's almost 6 million that are still receiving funds from Germany and other funding, and that's 12 million. Now, how does 12 million come out of 3 million?
Listen, again, the numbers, you know, you keep arguing about the numbers. The bottom line is that the Jews are entitled because we've been persecuted for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and so we're entitled. Even 100 years from now, there'll be people collecting money on the Holocaust because of that lousy boy Hitler over there. He was a bad boy.
Now, let me ask you a question about this, because this is very important. You know, we've gotten into a lot of very interesting information. We're going to get into more here in the very near future, but Rabbi Finkelstein, this country, the United States of America, is in real deep trouble right now financially, and I kind of want to know what you're telling the other Jews in that in regards to, because I know Jews don't have any loyalty to nothing but gold and silver, especially gold. Well, what are the synagogues teaching the Jews in America today as to the course of where this country is heading?
Well, it's like this. You know, America, it served its purpose for us for a while. We made a lot of shekels here. We made a lot of interest off the shekels. But we can get cheaper labor in China. We can get cheaper labor in India. Why should we pay the white race Goyim here in America any money when we can make a better deal over there? It's all about shekels.
You know, I want to get into that about shekels and interest and everything, and this is very interesting that you bring it up, because I noticed that there's a lot of investment by Jewish financiers into Asia, most parts of Asia. Now, I also know that Jewry is an Asiatic race. Is this correct?
Well, we're really all over the world, but yeah, I guess you could say we started in Asia.
Yes, that's right. Now, the Hebrews did not start there, and the Israelites didn't start there. You really have no bearing to be in the Hebrews or the Israelites. You are not the dispersed nations, plural, of the tribes of Jacob, who were surnamed Israel. Actually, the con game that you have brought on to this country and the world for many years, and it's been a good con. It's been a good con game. Is that you're allegedly God's chosen people.
We are God's chosen people. It's just that most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
Your God is gold.
Well, that's what we like, is lots of gold, lots of shekels, some American Express cards. You know, we like to spend, we like to have a good time. We let the Goyim do the work, and we have a party.
Oh, in other words, free foreign aid, free housing, free food, and you just let the other races be your Goyim cattle slaves. Is this correct?
That's what they want, so we let them be that.
And this is what's coming and planned in this country, too, isn't it, the United States?
Well, this country here, we're going to brown this country up. We're bringing all the Mexicans and all the Hispanics across the border. They're interbreeding, especially with a lot of the white women, the Shekels as we call them, and they're interbreeding with them. Pretty soon there won't be a white race, so they'll be all brown.
And talking about race, you are a race, Rabbi Finkelstein, but you are a Heinz 57 mongrel race of Asiatic blood. Is this correct?
Well, there's Jews everywhere in the world. We interbreed with all the good-looking women in every country we go into. All the good-looking women, all they care about is we buy them a few diamonds, not that they're worth anything. We mark that industry up real big. It's the truth be known, we have so many diamonds that if we ever turn loose the diamonds we have, you can buy them for the same price as a dozen roses.